Hey guys, Bitcoin Ben here. It is not Bitcoin Ben. Bix Weir, roadtoroot.com. I am in Bitcoin's Ben at Bitcoin Ben's house in his all-season room. This is it's a room right off the kitchen, and it's really cool. I'm sitting in Litecoin Little's cat hair right now, so if I start sneezing halfway through, you know what's going on. I did want to pop on to say that crypto people are the coolest people in the world. I showed up at Ben's house, and there's crypto people crawling all over the place, and they're all talking about freedom and the idea that we can actually do something to prepare for the future, and we have a solution where the bankers fail us once again. I want to put your head back in 2008 when we had the housing crisis and the banker crisis. Where we had to bail out the banks to the tune of $700 billion, and they took that and obviously leveraged it up to about $20 trillion or so, as well as the Fed opening up the window, giving anybody, any bank around the world, any amount of money they wanted. It was a clear sign that they had lost control, that the faith and confidence, which is the only thing that holds fiat money together, was destroyed. They are willing and able to open up the discount window and create money out of thin air in unlimited quantities. And the funny thing, the sad thing is, Catherine Austin Fitts and company have disclosed, shown by their own books, that they've opened up $30 trillion and gave it out to people that they didn't tell you about. But that's nothing. That's just what Catherine found. There's more. It has hit the point of infinity. That's what Ruta wrote in the sand in the original comic books, infinity money. So last time in 2008, it was actually on September 11th, believe it or not, the money markets froze, and within half an hour, $550 billion came out of the money market funds, and there was an electronic run on the bank, is how Senator Kanjorski phrased it in an interview a few days later. You can still go online and look up Senator Kanjorski's interview on about 9/11/2008. It is not a surprise. It is not a coincidence that it happened on September 11th, and at 11 o'clock in the morning is when he said it happened. I would like to point out, for those of you on the road to Ruta, September 11th coming up is a very important day. I have laid out on the private road and on the Patreon kind of what I think is going on. So check that out if you're a member of either of those. You can go to Road to Ruta Patreon. It's only $10 a month. And I have posted 4 videos about what's coming down the pike as far as the planned transition out of the old system into something new. But the beautiful thing is that we, the people, can decide to say no to the bankers. And yes, it will be amazingly difficult. It will be the hardest thing that mankind has faced, because this is the first time. It's not the first time that fiat money has failed. It's the first time in human history that the entire world was on a fiat money standard, and that the reserve currency is, of course, the U.S. dollar. So the reserve currency failing will obviously make every other unbacked currency fail. For 2 reasons. One, all these banks are interconnected, all their customers are interconnected, all their debts are interconnected. So that's one thing. But the other thing is people will lose faith in fiat money. And when you lose faith in fiat money, voila, that's all money is these days. So I do expect to see that decision being made in the next few months. Meaning we're going to have a very similar type of crash, electronically driven by a click of a mouse somewhere at the Fed, somewhere at the U.S. Treasury. That mouse will click, bang, everything freezes up, and then Steve Mnuchin, who is head of computer programming, IT trading at Goldman Sachs, will come to Congress and say, it won't be $700 billion, it will be more like $10 to $15 trillion to bail out the banks so they can leverage up to $100 trillion. And we're going to have to take on the liability of all the derivatives. I believe that Congress will say no. No. If they do say no, people will look for an alternative. There are a couple alternatives. One, you can go back to a gold standard. Yes, the U.S. has a lot of gold. No, people don't understand what gold is anymore. Those days are long gone. And they don't know the quantity of gold that is in the hands of, or in the ground in the United States and all around the world. All you have to do is read Yamashita's gold to get a better idea of just how much gold there is. It's not 200,000 tons like Jeffrey Christian would tell you. It is many multiples of that. Silver, on the other hand, they had to tear down one of the most important secret military facilities just to get about 3 billion ounces of silver out of that facility. And that was the Y-12 facility for the Manhattan Project in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. That was actually shut down in the 1990s. They said they shut it down right after World War II. It was a lie, obviously, because why would they? They just invented the most powerful weapon in the world. Why would they shut it down? It was a joke, and it was actually proven later that they did not shut it down. It was still operating until the 1990s, which is when they needed real physical silver, when Warren Buffett started accumulating silver. So they did shut down that facility to get about 3 billion ounces out. I believe that is pretty much dissipated by now. I proved that happened from some data that it was Chris Powell of GATA had found about silver exports spiking like huge amounts during 94, 95, 96, 97, or 93, 94, 95, 96. Like quadruple the amount that usually gets exported out of the United States. There was no big finds in the United States. It had to come from somewhere. It just happened to come from the exact same time when they shut down the Y-12 facility. So that's part of that. Silver leaving, went to London to rig those markets, probably to Asia as well. So yes, gold is very plentiful. Silver is very scarce, is the ultimate conclusion. That's why they have to rig silver more. If you think back at gold, the old gold all-time high for a long time, since we went off the fiat standard in the 70s, gold went from a fixed price, I think it was $30 at the time, $35, to $850 by the end of beginning of 1980. And then Paul Volcker and groups slammed that down. But gold has since surpassed that. It's up around $1,400. Well, silver at that time went from $1 or $1.35 or whatever it was in 1971 to $50 in 1980, almost $50, and then was slammed down. Using the same mechanisms, computer derivative destruction. But silver has never gotten back to its old high. It almost did. Again, in 2011, when a guy named Bill Daley was rigging the silver market as Obama's chief of staff, he was a J.P. Morgan trader. It got back to $50, and they slammed it right away, knowing how important silver was. Silver is at $17 right now. So you think about that. Since 1971, all that money printed, gold should be $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 an ounce. Silver should be a lot higher than that. Instead, silver is trading at almost, a third of its all-time high, which is crazy. Whereas gold is trading at 150% of its all-time high. More than that, 160%. There is a huge concerted effort from the United States government and the banks around the world to rig the silver markets. Now the question is, when will it happen? When will it be let free of that? And then what kind of price would it go to? Clearly it would go to some multiple of the US dollar. That multiple might be 10, 20, 30, 40 to 1. In ground, it's probably about 10 to 1. But remember, again, all the gold above ground and all the silver above ground are about equal, about 6 billion ounces. Because we use silver up. About 50 billion has been mined and throughout history, and there's about 6 billion left. Whereas with gold, 6 billion ounces have been mined, and there's 6 billion left, because you don't get rid of gold, you bury it in the ground. So yes, when the silver manipulation ends, and the gold manipulation ends, Both will run, but silver will run a lot higher. No, I don't think Ben was talking about the artificial making of silver in all atoms out of energy. Yes, I think it is being done now. It's being kind of proven on the laboratory side. For something like that to go into mass production, it will be decades. So I'm not worried about that. I do believe the end of silver manipulation will happen before, they can create, thousands of tons of silver using energy. But I do think we'll get there at some point. I put it 30 to 50 years. And we're going to run out of silver a lot sooner than that. So if there is massive manipulation proven, which I believe it has been proven, we have a whistleblower from J.P. Morgan that has proven that, and they have delayed his sentencing till December because they want everything to come at the same time. I think the crashing of the system and the rejiggering of markets, and then kind of reintroduction of something new. And I think cryptos will be standing there saying, "Hey, how about us?" So I do think Litecoin has been involved in these discussions. The Litecoin, at least Charlie on some level, probably when he sold all his Litecoin. And there's a bigger plan behind that. And of course, he didn't sell it because he didn't believe in Litecoin. That was the most ridiculous things. The people who talk about, they don't know what they're talking about, which is par for the course in cryptos usually. He sold it for a purpose, and that was so that we have a cryptocurrency can be used by humanity that isn't centralized with anybody. And Litecoin is that choice, I believe. Working closely with Bitcoin in atomic swaps and using the Lightning Network. That's the overall plan, and I think it is ready. People say, well, no, well, if it was ready, it'd be up and running, everybody would be using it. No, we don't need it yet. But the minute we do need it, when the banks go down, yes, we will need Litecoin and Bitcoin to be ready for the Lightning Network. And yes, it is working fine. It just needs full buy-in, and it didn't get full buy-in because nobody needed it. We had fiat money. So the moment we don't have fiat money is the day that Litecoin will be an amazing, amazing tool to proceed forward in our economic system and our social system without the use of these bankers. No central banking, no IMF, no World Bank is necessary. Will they still be around? Probably. Will Litecoin and Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies be the preferred means of exchange for the next generation? Absolutely. Every corporation on planet Earth is trying to get into it now. So I don't think this little lull in the prices are rigged, remember that, means anything at all. And I think not even in the long run, in the next 6 months, you're going to look back at today and say, shit, why didn't I load up everything I had into cryptocurrencies? But we'll find out, right? This is not investment advice. But that's what I'm doing. And I'm fighting for the cause, which is get rid of the old system. It's corrupt. Put criminals in jail for past deeds that they did, and work on getting a new system in place so that it's not so chaotic when the old system dies. All right? That's all I got to say from... I wanted a little snippy on my shoulder because Ben sometimes has the little snippy head back there. If he was here, he'd just pop his head on my shoulder. But I want to thank Ben and Kelly for inviting us into their home. We get to stay with Bitcoin Ben. And Ben is as sweet and as nice and as smart as he seems on YouTube. I can vouch for him 100%. And if you guys haven't seen it yet, I did a live stream with Bitcoin Ben earlier today. And it was like I showed up and he goes, hey, sit down here. And all of a sudden we're live streaming. I am going to do some live streaming at Road to Ruta. I will let you know the date of that. And then if I like it and there's not too many trolls trolling, we'll continue that. Because I think it's a good thing to get that out there. And I do like the Q&A stuff, which was fun today with the Bitcoin Ben sit down. Because he just said sit down and then we talked about everything from cryptos to God to family to his meetup tomorrow. Big meetup tomorrow in St. Louis. I think we start at 11 o'clock, so make sure you're there. Anyway, you want more information, go to bitcoinbin.io for the address. And coming to you from the All Seasons room, I think is what he calls it. And sitting in Litecoin Little's hair, I bid you guys a wonderful day and keep an eye out for some live videos from tomorrow's event. I think Ben's going to do, a whole bunch of people are going to put live simulcasts out there. So we're going to be singing, we're going to be talking crypto. Keep an eye out for that. Bix Weir, roadtoro.com. Like and subscribe. I'll talk to you later.